Demo discs, bonus discs, promotional discs, there were all kinds of extras that were being made back when CDs were new to the world of games. They were cheaper to produce than cartridges and had space for a lot more data, so of course it makes sense to hand out freebies from time to time. I'm going to focus on consoles because the world of PCs has had shareware and demos for decades before it was common for consoles. I'm also going to focus on my own collection mostly, and the discs that I have, or I'm particularly interested in. Of course, there are games that include other games within them. Sometimes it can be a cool unlockable, like in Sonic Adventure, where you can play a bunch of older games. Sometimes you'll have a game within a game, like in Shenmue, where there's Sega arcade games in the arcades, and they're fully playable. Metal Gear Solid HD Collection had the first Metal Gear games as a bonus. Sly 2 had Ratchet & Clank 3 demo on the disc itself. Wario World had a demo for WarioWare on it, but you've got to unlock it first by doing well in the game, and I don't really like Wario World, so I don't exactly have a lot of incentive to do that, especially since I own the full release of WarioWare. But the cool thing about the Wario World demo is that it's actually an earlier build of the game, and some animations weren't finalized yet. That's fun too, but I'm more interested in the discs that are dedicated to demos, or discs that were pre-order bonuses or parts of special collections. There's a few types of demo discs. Of course, you got the classic disc that only has a demo for one game, like this Marvel Nemesis demo disc I got. It's really nothing special. One stage with 2 characters, fight it out, and that's it. There's nothing more to it, just a little taste of what the full game is. There's also a demo of Gundam the Ace Pilot. You'd get this demo by buying the Char Aznable's custom red GameCube. It lets you play a mission from the game and look at some of the mobile suits the game has to offer. There are also demo discs that include multiple demos, or maybe even videos. These could be something you'd get during promotions, like what Pizza Hut used to have, or something you'd get with new consoles, like the Sega Dreamcast had. I also have this GameCube demo disc that has videos and playable demos on it. It's really fun to see. It's got this goofy music too. These were used in stores back in the day, and you could play them on GameCube kiosks. Of course, these weren't supposed to be sold or given away, so it makes me wonder what journey my copy has been through. This was also the first demo disc released in Europe. There were also some discs where you'd have to contact the publisher directly. One example of this is the Gundam Side Story Special disc I mentioned in my last video. Once you beat the Japanese version of the game, you'd get a code. Sending that code to Bandai would get you a disc. It's got an extra mission, and you unlock new mobile suits and fight against characters from the original anime. It's a really cool idea, but I think it could have just been additional content on the base game itself. You could have just unlocked it after the final mission. But at the same time, I'm glad it exists. Another example of this is Pac-Man Versus, which was a Club Nintendo reward, and it could also be found bundled with games like Pac-Man World 2 or R-Racer. But there's a special version of this game that was only released in Japan, and it has a lot more to it than just a game. It's got a whole lot of trailers and screenshots from a bunch of, at the time, upcoming games, as well as information about those games. But my favorite is easily this Mario trailer compilation with this wacky announcer. It's called Hot Mario, and it's very Japanese.
Mario Kart Double Dash! 今度はルイージも一緒だぞ! Mario & Luigi RPG!
Let's party! Mario Party 5!
Let's Pokémon Party!
Of course, we can't forget about Pac-Man Versus itself, which is a really cool asymmetrical multiplayer game. One player controls Pac-Man with the Game Boy Advance through the link cable, and the other players have to catch them as the ghosts. It's really cool and can make for some great multiplayer sessions. Shigeru Miyamoto himself was actually one of the designers for this game. There are also promotional discs that are supposed to build hype for an upcoming game, and one of the most famous examples of this might be The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time and Master Quest for the GameCube. Originally it was given to people who pre-ordered the Wind Waker, but many would pre-order Wind Waker, get the Ocarina of Time disc, and then cancel their Wind Waker pre-order to try to get a free game. So eventually Nintendo made it so that you could only get the disc with Wind Waker itself as a second disc. We didn't get the standalone one at all in Europe, and I only have the normal black label copy of Wind Waker. But I do have the Legend of Zelda Collector's Edition, which is a different release entirely. I think you'd have to get it directly from Club Nintendo itself, but I'm not really sure. It includes 4 games: The Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2 Adventure of Link, Ocarina of Time, and Majora's Mask, as well as a playable demo of Wind Waker, where you can spawn in multiple different locations and move around and explore and try out the combat and stuff. It also has a trailer and a video showing off the Zelda games over the years and how the series has evolved, up until the release of Wind Waker, of course. This collection is pretty cool, although sadly Majora's Mask does have some lag and it did freeze on me once. I did beat the game through this collection because, well, the resolution is a lot higher than the N64 original, and I prefer the GameCube controller of the N64. Apparently the issues with it stem from the expansion pack that was required to run the game originally. They apparently struggled with emulating it, and the game even warns you that there will be some issues, though they only mention audio issues, and that isn't really the main concern here. Still, I had a great time playing the game this way. The last disc I want to show is included in this 2-disc version of Silent Hill 2. It's got this cardboard sleeve on the outside, and when you unfold it you see the manual, the game disc with Mary's face on it, and the special disc with Maria's face on it. The special disc is called The Making of Silent Hill 2, and it features behind the scenes content, trailers, art, information about the developers, credits, and for some reason an interview with the director of Castlevania Chronicles. I really like this disc. It's pretty different from the other stuff I've talked about so far, but I just think it's a really cool bonus. Besides, Silent Hill 2 is my favorite game in the series, so it's fun to see more from it. I really miss this type of stuff. Of course, nowadays you can download demos and delete them once you're done. We don't really need to keep a bunch of demo discs around, but I really miss the days of demo discs. Something about playing a demo over and over again, just imagining how much more cool stuff is waiting for you in the full release. I think my fondest memories of a demo is the Halo PC demo, which had the silent cartographer on it. And that's easily my favorite mission in the first Halo game. I remember just wondering what else I could see in the full release. Though I didn't get around to that until many years later. I still have a special fondness for that demo, and that's something that just couldn't exist in today's gaming world. It just doesn't make sense anymore. Now that you can see trailers online and download demos and all that, there isn't really any use for it, and I think that's fine. I wouldn't really say it's any worse. It's so much more convenient now. But I will always miss those old demo discs and promotional releases. It just reminds me of being a kid getting all excited about upcoming games and speculating on what it's gonna be like. And that's something really fun to look back on. If you have any special memories with demos, I would love to hear about it, or any promotional discs or anything like that.